Fit Talk. I am your host with the most today, Wendy Stuart. I'm always very happy to see everybody on Wednesday, which, what do we call it? We call it hump day, right? We call it hump day because it's like the middle of the week. But you know what? I have lost track of time and I have to share this with you. First of all, I'm sure you noticed Tym Moss, my co-host, been very busy. He did 50 Shades of Gay with Avohee. They were in Atlanta. I think Tim is traveling a bit now. He will be back next week. And Tim, we hope you're enjoying yourself wherever you are. Okay, here's the deal. I am running 150 miles an hour these days because it is Pride Month. And I've had like 2 or 3 events a month. It's been absolutely insanely crazy. But I get to go to some of the best parties, I have to tell you. And last night at Stonewall was a fundraiser for Jane Clemente from the Tyler Clemente Foundation, which stands for Against Bullying. Love supporting organizations like this. She had wonderful performers. And you know what? It's all about the positivity, right? It's about all of us getting together as a community. We all support each other. This week on Saturday night, I was honored by a wonderful organization in upstate New York called Catskill Pride for all the work I do as an activist, which was I was really blown away because I just do what I do. And I've been doing it for 50 years. You know, there isn't a motivation. I'm just there. I do it. If I think something's not right, I try and make it right. That's who I am. But to get an honor and to be on the same stage as Melissa Gilbert, who won the Ally of the Year award, Melissa from Little House on the Prairie, and she's just an amazing human being. You know, if you judge people by the company they keep, I was just in the absolute best company. And last night, in addition, I know I'm telling you, I'm doing like so many things. I don't sleep. I mean, those of you who follow me know that I don't sleep. Last night as well at Chelsea Table and Stage, we had a celebration for Tribeca Records that is run by the infamous Soho Johnny, and wonderful acts there. I'm going to give a shout out to the amazing violinist Daisy Jopling and her electrical violin. I need to have her back on the show again. I've been doing this show over 5 years now. She was one of the guests that came in the first year. She was incredible. And they had jazz performers last night. And a big shout out here to World Star Media, Eileen Shapiro, who was at the helm of last night's show, and of course, the amazing Jimmy Starr. Now, one of the reasons Jimmy Starr is so amazing, besides he's a great publicist, we talk, and I like to have guests from all over, and he said, you're going to absolutely love this person, okay? My guest today is a multi-genre visionary artist, rooted in both classical and electronic dance music. And those of you who follow me know that I love EDM. With this latest worldwide released, Tremura, being part of the evolving 12V project. The V stands for voltage, and we will talk about that later. There's a June 12th release of Avohee meets Bach. It's a third release in Addicted to Classics. And then, of course, May 8th came out with Malami, a remix collection. Enough about all of this, because you have to meet my amazing guests from across the pond. For those of you who don't know what that means, that's in the UK. Please put your hands together for Avohee Avoher.
Hey, Wendy. Hello. It's a pleasure to join you from across the pond.
From across the pond. Who came up with, so where did that saying come from? Do you have any idea? I love it.
I haven't got a clue. I've got to admit my ignorance there, but it's a great expression. We're across the pond. Do you know? You don't know where it came from.
Right. It's on another continent. And I have to give a shout out here. When you came on the screen earlier, when we were testing our audio and visual and all of that, that piano in the background with the lights, and the piano itself is absolutely stunning. What is the story behind that piano?
Oh, that piano. Well, that's really my signature piece. I'm somewhat theatrical, as you may have known from Jimmy. And yes, just a tad. And the architecture of things and the way something visually looks to me is very important. So this is my basically my classical baby, but I had it custom made and I like the draw. Some people say it's a bit Liberace-esque, but I don't look at it in that way. For me, it's got the most wonderful resonant sound. I've had the action done particularly by a wonderful chap. They adjust it for me. It's the perfect instrument to play on. And also aesthetically, I just feel as though I am Avohee at work when I sit down to that one, and that's where my piano compositions come from.
And it's so, I mean, come on, it's so inspiring to be able to create from something like that. I have to tell you what is something really weird, but you'll get it. Look at the colors in my dress. I had a bunch of things picked out today. I have the colors in my dress are the colors coming off of your piano. I just thought I would point that out.
And that's fabulous because it means there's a higher power up there is somehow connecting us, Wendy.
I'm telling you, I have not worn this dress in ages. And I have tons of clothes and I was going through, I'm like, what am I feeling today? I'm excited about this guest. I'm excited about their music. And my hand went right to this. But I mean, the colors are exact. We're coordinated. I just love that. Okay.
It's fantastic. Fantastic.
As we say. So you grew up playing piano.
I did indeed. Yes. I started when I was about 8 years of age. But before that, I always loved music. I was always listening to music and everything and just started. And I think it was a bit of a surprise how well I took to it at that stage. But I also very much enjoyed from an early age not writing at that stage. When you're younger, you're not really putting together meaningful songs, but taking little ideas, playing around with them. It was always a curiosity to me, a fascination. And so I kind of excelled through the traditional piano learning and going through the grades as one does at that age at school. And then I started entering into competitions. And really music became more and more of my life, but it was also the creative aspect of it. It was a beautiful emotional release for me. Even as a 10-year-old, I was putting together things that just felt right for me. They completed me. And I found that a very time consuming, introverting slightly, but a very beautiful thing. And I felt, even at, I'd say probably about 11, somewhat touched in a way. It's like it's channeled through you. It's like sometimes I would have ideas, they would come to me, but they seem to come from somewhere, a higher place, if that makes sense.
I totally understand what you're talking about. That is really something in, an 11-year-old boy, which if I can stereotype, right? What do they play, like soccer in the UK, or what do we play?
Yeah, that's it.
No, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and there you have this incredibly sensitive, you have to be to do what you do, sensitive child that is already channeling something way higher at a young age. Was your family really supportive of this creativity that you showed?
They were. I guess I wouldn't like to say pushy parents, because people always think when somebody gets on their pushy parents. My father certainly wanted the best for his children, so I suppose he was very encouraging. Not that he had any classical background himself, for his background in that way.
That's what I'm getting at, yeah.
Yeah, my mother as well. She obviously wanted the children to do well, and she was, I would say, a little bit more pushy in terms of do your practice and those sort of things. But they did the best for me like that. But I'd say it really came. It was more a natural calling to me. There was just something that connected within my soul on a deeper level, which I just absolutely loved. And then moving forward from that, I was lucky to come across Felicitas La Winter. I was practicing in Spain in a hotel salon, and she was a concert pianist, and she had a direct lineage back to Franz Liszt, which is really quite whoa. But
the fact that happened, how did you meet her, that you were able to study with her? How did that happen?
Well, I was actually sitting in a hotel. I used to spend quite a bit of time in Spain, and I went to boarding school and spent the school holidays out in Spain. And we didn't have a piano in my parents' house in Spain. So, of course, I was bereft without my piano. But there was a fabulous hotel, and they were so kind there. They used to let me, again, if I take it looking back with hindsight now, they must have thought I was fairly okay to let me use their grand piano to play and to practice, which was lovely. So I wasn't separated from the piano. one morning I was there playing and everything. It's a funny story if I'm not going to bore you to tears with it.
You could never bore me to tears, and I want every story, as many as you can tell me. Go ahead.
Oh, bless you. Thank you, darling. That's sweet to hear, Wendy. And so I was playing on, and there was one particular flat note on this piano. And what I perceived at that age, I can't remember if I was 10 or 11, I perceived, oh, it's an old lady coming up to talk to me. And I didn't want her to think that the duff sounding note was me or anything to do. I was playing one of my own compositions. And so in this sort of like child's mind, I was trying to explain to her the note's flat. You know, I'm trying to explain what a flat note meant to her. She sort of put this hand on my shoulder and she said to me, "Don't teach a grandmother to suck eggs. I understand what flat means."
Well, she just put you right in your place, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. And then she just said to me, "Now carry on what you were doing and don't worry about the flat note." And she wanted to listen. And from there on in, she explained to me who she was, what she did, and that she'd like to meet my parents, and that she thinks that she wanted to talk about me. And that's how that whole story started.
But look at this is such a pivotal story, really, to your career. You were how old at that age? Like 11?
10 or 11, yes. I think I was probably 11
years old. The fact that at that moment, right, that you were in that hotel, all right, and that person was there at the same time. That is what I meant by kismet, you know. When you can play the way a person like you can play, you are dealing with far bigger things than piano teachers or someone thinks you should study with. This person obviously connected with you then and there.
Absolutely. And at that age, I had no understanding of that. But when we look at that's synchronicity.
Yes,
that's what happens that's what happens throughout our lives, really. If we're open to it, I look back at that now and think that was meant to be, for sure, 100%.
So we're talking about synchronicity. How much has synchronicity played a part in your career and where you are at now with your music? Because it did, you know, your origins are in classic. But now we ventured into electronic dance music, or what we call EDM.
Yes.
You've got the right person for your host today, because I go into it. I can name every single DJ. Most of them are from Europe. You know who they all are. But yes, you know, again, they're mixing. You're playing your classical music, and now you have combined it with EDM. How does that all work?
Well, again, if I look back when I was younger, I used to enjoy, rather like you, to get out there dancing, to have a good party, to enjoy the dance music, the clubs, that whole scene across Europe. And without sounding pious or pretentious, I always found that I enjoyed it very much. And there's huge talent out there which is recognizable and needs congratulating. But to me, I always felt that I wanted a little bit something else combined. So from an earlier age, I'd always felt that that's the area that I wanted to go into as well. It's a passion, I suppose, in that respect. Absolutely. Yeah. And as I say, I think we've got to be a little experimental in what we're doing and combine things like that. So it's just a natural progression for me, really. And going back to what you said about synchronicities and in general in life, I think if you're open and you're living life in the best way that you know, you're treating people correctly, you've got your own moral compass, you've got your own code, you're grateful for where you are, I think we tune into something. And I'm not so much one of these people that's going to bang on about manifestation all the time, but I do believe there is something in life, if you're putting out, or maybe it's just a karma.
It's a karma.
Then things progress. And if you're true to yourself in what you're doing, the synchronicities, they turn up, or the predestined meeting, or the surprise, what people think is a coincidence loosely. It's not so much. It's evolving because you're on the right path and you're doing the job that you should be doing, whilst also hopefully bringing people a level of happiness.
Oh, and that is a large portion of it. I can tell from talking to you, that's very important to you, that they hear your music. And that raises their vibration. You make them happy by hearing your music.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so important to me. Particularly if we look at, you spoke about the 12V cycle, the piano ones, which is 12 emotional voltages.
Right.
Um, for me, everything that I create somehow, obviously, because it's coming from me, it is related to experiences that I've had in this world of existence living here, so to speak. So there's always little parts, whether it was a painful time, we all have SH1T in our lives at different
Right. Yes, it
times.
on the show too. But yes, we all do. I think what I don't like is when people try and sugarcoat things as opposed to just allowing. It is a life experience. Okay, there are things that are not a cakewalk, but as long as we can take and use it, whatever pain we've gone through, whatever tragedy, and put it through the mix master of our creativity and have it come out on the other end as something positive. That's what you want to do.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So every little thing that shapes us, it comes out. So going back to with the 12V project, it's 12 emotional voltages.
Right.
If it can allow somebody a release, if somebody can listen to that and feel something that has been my inspiration to write that particular track or to feel it and it be slightly channeled through me, then I feel that I'm so happy, I'm thrilled because I know that I'm touching through sound. I'm touching somebody else and hopefully allowing them to reflect on something, which is, again, ties into this passing things around in the world, giving things to others is not a vanity project. It's a genuine desire on my part that if I can touch people in any way, and then if I can be so arrogant to even presume that that little touch might lead to somebody thinking a little deeper or healing or helping, then oh my word, then really that's the purpose that I'm living.
Well, I have to tell you something. You are, and I'm sure I'm not the first person that told you you're onto something here, but I'm going to take you a few steps further. There are scientists that I know that are working with artists such as yourself because they have found certain people that are creators can key into parts of human beings. And that's exactly what you're talking about, and create things that happen in the brain. And
Absolutely.
I totally feel that that is what, again, maybe it was not your original intention, but if you're channeling this, then that's the sum total of it. Isn't that amazing to be able to do that?
Well, it's fantastic. I'm very grateful that I can do that. But what you're telling me is news to me. I didn't know that there was research about this or anything. Again, it must be exposing.
So yeah, now you can come on my good ship, Lollipop, or we'll go down the rabbit hole with Wendy. I'm a member of the Explorers Club. There's 3,700 people in the world. And I got in there. I made films in remote parts of Africa, but that's an aside. I bring this up to you because one of the things I do there when people come from all over the world, I take them through the club and I show them our artifacts and our amazing paintings. What we started rolling in the last couple of years is art. And I have seen how art, right? Whether it is sound art or a sculpture art, it might be of something from the ocean, how it can connect right to a human being, how somebody who's inspired by something they heard in the ocean when they were diving sits in front of a piano and creates a whole concerto based on something in the ocean. That is something that you would be able to do, that a scientist would be able to pull things out of. They are just now starting to study this kind of stuff. And you are so on the track with your music.
Wow. Well, that's really kind of you to say, and I hope that I truly am. You humble me when you say that to me, Wendy.
I just love meeting artists that are, you're definitely out of the box. And does everyone get what you do? Or do you, when people are out of what I call out of the box, sometimes they end up having to explain themselves, which I don't think they should have to do. But, on a broader commercial base, we're talking the music industry.
Absolutely.
Do you ever have to explain who you are, or people getting it, or what has been your experience with that?
Well, again, with this project, Avohee Avoher, and when I launched Avo Records, my own label, I went on your independence
label. Yeah. And I want to shout that out. Very impressive.
No, oh, bless you. Thank you. We launched on July the 4th, your Independence Day, with the meaning behind it of independence last year. But you're raising a very valid point about the industry. And my simple answer is, I try not to explain because I think the music should do it for a start, but I certainly meet, Wendy, which really disappoints me. I meet resistance, even amongst people that I think are actually, I'm not saying within my inner circle team, not Jimmy, not some of my other collaborators, but the associated people in the industry around that do promos and other things, and not being disrespectful of anyone. If I one more time have somebody say to me, experimental, it's experimental. You know, we all have a view, and I'm not being grandiose saying what I'm doing is wonderful. It's going to be subjective and down to taste. But you can't just, in my view, in the industry, take this direct channel and have blinkers. This works commercially. This works in this area. And so anything beyond that actually, in my view, perhaps holds a little bit more artistic merit to it. Right. You can't then just label it, well, we don't know, because they don't know what to do with it or how to promote. So the easiest way is shut you down and just say, oh, experimental. But then I'd like to say to them, because I'm a little bit theatrical and naughty, what did Picasso, no, exactly. What did Picasso get told about experimental work? And look what he did with people. You know, I'm not for 1 minute arrogant enough to compare myself to Picasso. So please forgive me, or audience, if anything comes across that way. It's not meant like that. But it's the sheer frustration that I'm constantly fighting a battle to try and get more people to listen in an industry that, in my view, is blinkered. Then that ties back to hence the independent label. Right. But it doesn't stop me, because I feel that I have a true calling, and I'm continuing with it.
Well, first of all, it can't stop you. Second of all, you're well aware that the music industry, like every industry, right, operates on categories. Categories make people feel safe, right? They try and make people fit into a slot, whether it's casting for a film or a particular piece of music they're going to use, right? So when they can't explain anything, they come up with this word experimental. It's it's like it is an empty word. It's actually insulting somewhat, you know. You're doing what you're doing. You are creating art from within, and that is all you need to do. Okay, that you get there and you're channeling this. And you know, the projects that you're working, I want to go back to 12 voltages again, because you hit on some things there that I wanted to talk to you about. Human resilience and emotions. How did the tracks on 12 voltages hit that?
Well, essentially, what I often do, just for my own pure enjoyment, is I will sit down to this beauty here. I've actually got 4 other pianos as well.
Oh my God.
That's my number one. That's one of my all-time favorites. And again, just for my own relaxation, I potter around with ideas, apart from obviously technical practice. But when I'm saying when I want a little chill session to myself, I'll sit down with the piano and I will just create, or some people might say it's improvisation. I like to think sometimes it's a bit of this channeling as well. Something will come to me. But if I was feeling pensive, if I was feeling a little bit energetic about something, different things flow out. And from there, I conceptualize, and then I write my track. And once it's in me, it's in me. And then I can then get it recorded and done. So again, 12V, really, I didn't set out to write this album or to produce it that way or do the monthly things. It's just works that came out of me that I realized were actually a part channel, but part of release for myself. And then when I listened back to some of them, I thought, oh, actually, as a listener, not the person that's written it, I can identify this. Because it's very difficult when you create something to stand back and actually try and hear it how somebody else will listen to it in the first instance, which that always fascinates me as well. The inability of the composer or the producer to actually be able to hear it independently, so to speak. And then that's when I came up with they did all have different names originally. I renamed them all for this 12V project, but they all meant something to me. And again, I wrote those works because I know you've got quite a strong belief about what happened during COVID and everything. That was leading up to the COVID period and everything. So I took my time to release it because they were very personal to me, and I did want them to go under the Avohee Avoher project as well. And as I say, that only launched last year. But each one is almost a progression of my journey after a number of things happened in my life that were personally significant, and I had to almost reevaluate where I was and what I wanted to do going forward. So it's kind of like it's the emotional outlet from all of those different scenarios that leads to each one of those tracks.
Can you share some of those experiences? Because obviously they affected you in a profound way to create the music.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I do tend to believe that the music is the autobiography itself, so to speak, and that's not closing you down in terms of not wanting to share the experiences. There were certain situations in the family that have figured in my life that would lead to that. There were certain personal situations, which again, I don't think is relevant to actually get the feel directly from the art, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. What it does do is, and again, I had said earlier, we have positive experiences and negative experiences. And I guess where I'm going with this is you did have these negative experiences, but you turned it into beautiful music that you could share with other people that could maybe connect right when they listen on the audio level and relate to it. Music is different than words, right? Than us sharing words. And to be able to heal somebody or get somebody to think by you taking what you had personally experienced and putting it into your music, that's an incredible thing.
Oh, bless you. Yes, it is. But as I said, I feel eternally grateful, hopefully, that I'm able to do that, or that 12V is partially doing that. But those experiences, when you ask again, don't think that, as I say, I'm shutting you down. No, I just think that the music is more important in that way. We've all had bad experiences. Some of those that inspired, for example, the last one of 12V cycle is Indomitable, that releases on the 30th of June. That one's actually rather triumphant. That's sort of at the end of the 12V emotional thing. We'll have to wait till the 30th of this month for that one to come out. But that's almost it's celebratory. Yes. Because it's trying to show people wherever you are and you might feel drowned or despondent at the time, work through, accept the cycles as normal, find that inner resilience, find your strength. We've all got it there, and then come out and be indomitable.
I totally love it. Right. And land on your 2 feet and feel really good about where you are at the end of the day.
Hopefully, yes. I think everybody can do it, though. We can all do it.
I completely agree with you. I do want to play the clip that you sent. Okay. Thank you.
What one have you got? Have you got the Avohee Meets Bark? That's the release coming out this week, is it?
I think that was the one you wanted played. I sent them to my amazing producer. I'm not technical. I don't even know how to download these things for the show. So, Cameron, take it away.
What happens when Avohee meets Bark?
God, that is Avohee Avoher with Bach. Oh, amazing. Amazing.
Did you enjoy it, Wendy? I'm glad you loved.
More than enjoyed it. I'm sitting here so frustrating in front of this computer podcasting when I want to be in a club with that playing from surrounding speakers. And I'm a flagger also, having my flag.
Oh, superb.
I know. It would be so incredible. You know what? I would fly to the UK in the next couple of weeks if you told me what club I could go to and dance to this song.
Well, hopefully you might be able to find someone on your side of the pond because it's gone out on DJ promo. It's getting quite a lot of good responses.
Okay,
but next time I'm over, I'll invite you. You'll have to come.
Okay, I am honestly going to hold you to that invitation. I am serious, not delirious about that. This is really such an incredible piece, from the visuals to the layers of the music.
Thank you. That's so kind of you.
Share a little bit about the complex creation of this piece.
Yeah, again, to me, it sounds complex compared to what I would call conventional dance music because I always write multi-layered, and I guess that's my classical influence. But what I wanted to do there, because I like to build a whole world, a whole atmosphere, and you'll see the visuals. I make all of those myself as well. So the official video, I produce those for every track that I do. Avo Records actually stands for Audio Visual Originals. And I always had this concept with the label and everything, although I do it all myself in-house. One day I might have people that can help. But at the moment, I
cannot believe you do. I mean, I believe it because you're telling me. I cannot believe you do all of this yourself because it's huge.
Oh, bless you. That's so kind of you to say. When honestly, you touch my heart when you tell me that. It's a lot of work, but
a lot of work.
I start with the original classical composition. I then write the lyrics, and I like to combine, like, for example, not because I'm promoting a religion. I know I've got the cross on it. It might look like I'm piously religious. I believe in a power and I believe in the universe, but I like to bring that element of the religion into it, and the Latin, because I think it adds to the ethereal drama. It builds a bigger world. Now, whether you're they're middle generation now, not the young generation, whether they're a little bit enhanced and having some naughties while they're out enjoying it as a club or venue, whether they're just a bit drunk, whether they're straight, it just creates to me, a more immersive thing. And that's what I try and do. And then with the German, adding a different language into it as well. I just think it gives you, hopefully, and it's dependent on the listener, little sort of like rushes up your spine. You don't need a substance in order to do it, because if you just move your body and you let the sound fill you with it as well, it just can take you somewhere. And that's what I always try to do with all of my tracks. But as we spoke earlier, sometimes they're labeled. This one particularly, I've been told I don't want to name names so they get annoyed with me. They think I'm putting them on your show.
Bad mouthing.
No, darling. But honestly, they've told me experimental. And I realise, again, it's naivety with the greatest of respect, because
right. Experimental is unacceptable for this kind of music.
This to me could appeal to classical music lovers in a more modern form. This could appeal to clubbers. It could morph into many different things. It could be good soundtrack music for a movie. Look, the responses so far on promo has been interesting and good. Can I just say one thing? And I'm going to be probably told off by one of my collaborators for saying it, but I'll share a secret and then people can see how my inner mind works. One particular DJ wrote on a feedback about this, words to the effect of, I just don't get this. And you might think this is a negative thing to say on air. And it sounds rather tinny. But the whole idea is they only know what they know.
Right.
I designed it to have that slightly different sound, and I spent hours to perfect it. Then my mastering engineer at Abbey Road works on that. He knows what I want straight away, and it works powerfully on a desktop, on a stereo system, in a club PA. It's equipped to go anywhere if it can build the traction. Right. But when I hear comments like that, to me, they don't upset me, but they niggle me slightly, and that's why I'm raising it, because could somebody not step out of that narrow lane they've got, or their box, and perhaps think, maybe the guy that made this actually wanted that sound. maybe instead of looking at it like that, I should think about the emotional meaning of this, or what message is it portraying, apart from, okay, I know club music is meant to be a bit more enjoyable, dance your tits off and just enjoy yourself like that.
Like completely, let me tell you, the clubs I go to, this is not only completely enjoyable, the kids, because you mentioned the younger people, you put this on in a club in Brooklyn, a House of Yes, they would go absolutely crazy. Okay, these DJs that you are talking about, again, I don't know their age, I don't know their experience, and you're asking them to step out of their own mindset. We're talking mindset, right? Whether they work or don't, they may not have the mindset. What you create is extremely sophisticated, and I think you said it early on, did anyone judge like Picasso or whatever? Think about great artists. They didn't get them early on. A lot of them became famous when they were already on the other side. But that's hard. All right. So the fact that you have taken the bull by the horns, you have your own record label, you continue to create, you do collaborate. All right. I know you said you're sort of a one-man band, but you have people that work with you. You are building your audio from within, because that is what it's about. It's not about what is here. It's what is inside. And that is the most important. You know what? If a certain person doesn't get it, he doesn't get it. That's it. They don't get you. They don't need to. Not everybody is going to get all of us in the world.
No, they're not. And Wendy, you're so lovely to say that. As I say, you humble me, what you're saying. But, the thing is, it does get a little frustrating, but then that's more of the challenge, because you've just got to keep going and build and build and build and build, hopefully.
Right. No, that's exactly right. So when you look at your own progression from when you started, tell me like where in a timeline you started creating. I know this is all recent releases, but when did you start combining EDM music with classic?
Oh, I've been doing it all my life, really. I started on the electronic sphere when I was about my first sort of like, it was, with a computer and then having a door and everything. I started when I was about 19 on that. Okay. And I was originally doing it for some sort of like soundtrack things and bits and pieces and classical. But then I was like, oh, yes, when I said I was going clubbing and I'd hear this or that. But I then spent some time, I did some other things. As I say, I don't think the past of my musical career is important to what you see in front of the screen today, but now is the time. A lot of these works in concept I've done over the last 15 years, 20 years. And now I'm just sort of like bringing them. Now is the time under this artist project to start pushing them out. For example, the Addicted to Clap.
It is so important because the concepts were there, right? And what it takes, it's like if someone writes a great screenplay or a great novel, it can take 10, 12 years, a documentary, 14, 15 years, right? So the seeds were already there, and now it has come to fruition. That's amazing. Absolutely.
Yes, yeah. And as I say, I'm truly blessed, because the most important thing is, although I sound like I'm a whinging moaner about these resistance in the industry, I actually, deep down, Wendy, I love it, because it is more of a challenge. And I spoke to Yeah. But I spoke to somebody that I collaborate with Love Foundation UK, the other half of that, Julian Napolitano. And he said to me, don't give up. Don't listen to anyone. You've got something so unique. You've got a whole world out there. In other words, he was basically saying to me, just poo them off and don't listen to any of these narrow-minded, as you said, that can't switch their mindset. Right. And that's very encouraging, because I rate Julian very, very highly. But others will say to me, oh, you should think about more commerciality. You should think about this. Oh. But then my answer, no, oh, bless you, Wendy. Sorry to ramble on. You're going to say that. But when you say, oh, please, that warms my soul, because I'm doing what is right for me. I'm delivering what I think has some resonance. And I'm so lucky it's coming from, part of it is coming from higher above without sounding pious. It's channeled. So why would I want to start fiddling with that to make it commercial, or to lessen somebody said to me probably about 3 months ago, just take less out, take a lot of it out and make it more simple. Well, like when I walk
down, my God.
Yeah. But to make it more acceptable to these in the narrow lane that are going to be the DJs that are going to play it, well, that's not, in my view, sincerely, without arrogance, with being humble, that's not the way to do it. If you believe in something,
Right.
and that is what you produce, you should stand by it.
Oh, completely. And this is what's coming from you, not a watered down version. And, you've been doing this for more than a bit. So you have to, I'm going to use a word I hate, but you know what? You have to stay true to your brand. I hate using that word, especially applying it to someone like you, but it is who you are. This music is who you are. And whoever is giving you that other advice, and I tell people this all the time, sometimes we have to put horse blinders on. In your case, you have, but it's true. It's really a metaphor I'm sharing with you. Horse blinders or a mask. And you've got to, in your mind's eye, keep your eye on the prize and what you want to create. And again, it's not easy because I'm sure you have your days if you get a bad comment or two bad comments or a bad pushback. It affects you. We're all people. These things affect us. We can't sit here and say they don't affect us, but we do need to, as you said before, it gets you going. It gets your ire up. It gets your creativity up, and it propels you forward. That is a good use of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I love that, how you just described it. I absolutely love it. But that's bang on. We're all human. So, of course, sometimes something can prick us a little bit. But to be honest with you, what I've been through in my life and the fact that I'm able to write, if I look at the classical things and what I've achieved classically in my life, this is going to sound a little rude or strange. My expression that I often say about myself, or when people say, oh, this person said this, I'm a tough old bitch, darling. I take it in my stride because it's meaningless, because I'm true to myself and what I'm doing. Of course, sometimes if we've had a pressureful day, and obviously I'm working very, very long hours, as you just touched on earlier, you couldn't believe I'm doing everything single-handedly, all the videos, all the music and everything. Of course, I have a lovely team for collabs and other things, and I've got a great studio to work with, a mastering engineer, but essentially everything that is created is entirely from me. It's a lot of work. So if you're worn out, sometimes you can be pricked a little and then you're slightly deflated, but it's momentary, because then that tough bitch side of me comes back and I'm like, no, this is my world. This is what I'm creating. And hopefully the people that will judge are the members of the public that might get something from it and enjoy it. And if that happens, fantastic.
I completely agree with you, and I see we're getting comments on this. Usually, I save the comments to the end, but I'm going to jump in now with my comments because I want to see who's saying what. Because you definitely touched people out there on the show. Cameron, can you make the comments come? I don't know how to scroll these comments. Can you? I know I'm so broken technically. I'm so embarrassed to share that. Cameron, can you make the comments come up for me? Cameron.
Wendy, don't be embarrassed. Look what I was like trying to sort out before the show what we were doing.
Let's understand, before the pandemic, I had a whole other life. I became a podcaster because Jimmy Starr, who has tuned in, became my PR person because I had an Eileen Shapiro. I had a book out called She's the Last Model Standing. And that's how I started with them. And then the pandemic hit and all my acting jobs and modeling jobs and stand-up comedy jobs went out the window. And
so sad.
Jimmy, you know what? But you can't, right? So Jimmy and Eileen started putting me on other people's podcasts. And I'm like, wait a second, I can do this. And that's how it but I can't do the technical part. Oh, look, it's scrolling. I'm loving it. Okay. Rose Trentman, hello, my dear friends. Taking a break to see your show. Momo Cabrera is here with us. Jimmy Starr is here with us, and he loves this. Don't you, Jimmy? Okay. Suze, hello, dolls. An amazingly talented designer, and I know she is grooving on everything you're saying. Rose, who is connected in the higher universe in ways that people can't even imagine. Follow and listen to your vibes. That is the God's honest truth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Get them all in. Okay, I do want to talk to you because, as artists, things affect us deeply. The pandemic affected me deeply, and it's still, there are people that say to me, you have to let that go. I'm not letting it go. Okay, the fact that we could end up getting a virus that took out the world,
Mm.
the world. It wasn't just, in the UK and the United States. It took out the world. The fact that such a thing could exist and all over the world, people were in lockdown. We still don't really know where it came from. I don't know. This is just like artistically, it was like, wow, I have to figure out how to invent myself. What did it do to you?
Well, pretty much the same, what you're saying. It was terrifying to start with, and I don't mind admitting that. It was absolutely terrifying when we could first see what was happening back in that January. Was it Wuhan, if I remember correctly, when we were seeing the...
Okay, the story we were all told. I actually, I write funny parodies. I never finished this one. It was a parody about a bat in the marketplace in Wuhan. And it was going to be like a little musical from the point of view from the bat. I know that's so totally twisted, but I did that for a little bit because it started in a wet market in Wuhan is what they told us. But then, of course, what seems to be the reality is something got out of a lab.
Yeah, of course.
Stories. None of us are privy to any secrets here. I don't know, but it was terrifying. How did you deal with your terror? It all of a sudden, shut down.
Well, again, sadly, just before that time, I had a family tragedy. I lost somebody in a house fire. Just 9 days, if I remember correctly. It's a memory I try and push back now. I mean, I've dealt with it, but that was 9 days before we went in Britain into the lockdown. So I was kind of devastated from that loss of standing outside her burning building and not being able to do anything with the fire service there. Not as a poor me story, it was just a ghastly thing. Then we went into the lockdown. I was also actually, funnily enough, getting ready to do this project to launch Avohee Avoher, which is now happening. It sort of went on 4th Independence Day 2025. It's taken that long to get back on track. That was supposed to be happening in that July of 2020. So there's an example of what you've touched on with your own work and what happened. It's that same thing. It was absolutely dreadful. But I coped again with being able to sit down, create, eventually deal with my sorrow, my grief. And thank God, I really, truly do mean that I had the music to get me through that period, because without that, I wouldn't have done. And funnily enough, the track that released Forever Together, which is a dance track, was inspired. People think it's probably about love and forever together, like a couple or something. But actually, it was inspired one night. The muse just hit me, or the channeling again during that lockdown, and that track poured out of me. It was the grief of the loss of my relative.
Absolutely.
And that was the name of the track, Forever Together. So beauty has even, and I'm not because I'm being vain and calling my track beauty, but it's beauty because it's emotional healing. Beauty did come from tragedy, as it ordinarily usually does.
Yeah. And being able, what a blessing that you could deal with it that way, right? Like if the tragedy just stayed up blocked inside of you, and it does with so many people, incredible that you have a way, an outlet of getting that out there, right? And then being able to share it by the people that listen to it, they become part of the experience, and you can help them heal too. That's amazing. Really.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing to say, Wendy, and you've got it there. That again touches my heart. If you know what you're saying resonates with me completely.
Well, but that is true, right? I have to ask you, because I phonetically had to spell your name out. I had to repeat it to myself again and again. And before we went live, of course, I pronounced it incorrectly. Where did your name come from?
Hey, do you genuinely not know the Avohee Avoher? You don't know where it originated from?
No, I don't.
Oh, wow. Okay, you're going to think, my God, this chap's a fruitcake.
So we welcome fruitcakes on this show.
As a child, again, I go back to childhood. I had an obsession with toy hoovers. And I was not going to reveal this because I thought the music should speak for itself. But actually, I had a wonderful interview with Andrew Eborn, and he prized it out of me. So it went into the public domain already, so I'm not really breaching any of my privacy as I wanted. It's actually an anagram of Hoover. There's Avohee and Avoher, which is a bit like the yin and yang, and it's from an anagram based on Hoover, because Hoovers were my favorite things as a child.
Oh, that's, you know what? The Hoover vacuum company should hire you as an endorsement spokesperson, your music playing in the background, ask you who you are and where the name came from. And I think that would be a great way and a very unexpected way to I'm going to use the word commercial, but that is a great story. That is an absolute great story. Why do you think a toy vacuum? What was it that appealed to you?
I have no idea, but maybe this is no, I do actually. I think it was. Look, I love the idea of cleaning. God knows why. That's who I was. I loved the Hoovers. But what really interested me was the frequency of their motors, which again is an acoustic thing. Now, if you listen, you must, I don't know your age and I don't mean to be rude, but if you get one of those old fashioned like Hoover seniors and you listen to them, they sound completely different frequency wise to what you see on a modern vacuum today or a modern Hoover today.
I have my mother's old vacuum, still works, Hoover, and you are 100% right. I can't believe it. But the fact that you would tune into that as a kid, that would be the thing. Any kid would probably say, oh, I like playing with a vacuum, right? Like an easy bake oven. I like playing with my toy oven. It was the frequency of the sound, and you're all about the frequency of the sound. I hope your parents realize they had such a special child with you. Are any of your siblings like you?
No, well, we're similar to some extent, but they're not doing the music or anything like that. But we've got close bonds and everything in that respect. As for my parents, I think you better have a word with them, Wendy, at some point if we come over to the States.
Well, that would be great if you come to the States. So let's talk about where your next is. What is next for you?
Well, I've got a number of tracks already that I've been working on. I'm ahead of Avohee Meets Bark. Comes out this Friday. I've got more coming in the Addicted to Classics series. As I say, 12V, the piano album cycle, finishes with Indomitable. Then the full album will be available on vinyl or CD to buy as well, which is great. And that will be at the end of this month. But then I've been working very hard and I'm super excited about this. Nobody really knows about this project. It's Avohee Avoher, after the Masters, School of Velocity, and based on the link to Fran's list. These are really technical, like the Czerny School of Velocity, the technical studies for piano. They're like that, but they're hopefully got a little bit of the emotional touch as well. 12V was very much about inner headspace, healing, resilience, and it was very minimalist, so it fell more under the neoclassical. This is pure tradition based around the master's work and technically so demanding. But I finished that album about 3 weeks ago, I think 4 weeks ago. It's just been mastered. The mastering, I've got to do the approval with Abbey Road. They've sent me the prior approval, and I will be doing again like I did with 12V. I'm getting too excited about it, Wendy. I will do a waterfall release. So July the 30th, the first one will come, and then it will over a year deliver one single. So by this time next year, people will be able to get the full album. And I am hoping, but I haven't done it yet, I would like to have the published sheet book of these as well when they go out, so other pianists can actually practice them.
Wow, you have so much on your plate. Does any of this include live performance?
Well, that is something that dear Eileen...
I'm selfishly asking that.
Oh, bless you. That's very sweet. At the moment, no, because there's too much in establishing that. And also I'm moving studio. This is my studio here at the moment, and I'm in the process of relocating that, which is a massive project. And I've been traveling internationally. I said I can't use the word jet lagged because they haven't been across the pond, but they've been European flights.
I call it jet hag.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can call it.
Jet lag. Okay, cool. But yes, so I've got all of that to deal with. But there are many things and many other projects. But the live performing, I said to Eileen, I'd like to definitely work on that. What I want to do is put together, I've got a concept, but that's for further down the line. More money needs to be returning with Avo. I want to put on live concerts that incorporate the Addicted to Classics, a bit like a DJ thing, but a cross between a Jean-Michel Jarre style of concert. There's more coming in that way. But that's very ambitious. It will require smaller gigs to start with, but unfortunately, I just haven't got the time at the moment to do those this year with the requirements of everything else. But going into the midterm next year, that's definitely somewhere we'll be looking at, hopefully. And if people want to see me, that is, you never know, they might not want to.
Oh no, I mean your whole personality and you know, the person, even though it's the audio experience, it's the person that is creating this on a stage. I think people love that. I think what you can bring to people is huge, and the sheer amount of healing that comes from the music that you create is profound. And I think, in my personal opinion, I would pay to see you in concert, just so you know.
Oh no, that's so sweet. You're so lovely.
Aside from me, I wanted to ask you, do you write? Are you a poet? Do you do spoken word? Does that connect into who you are?
Oh my word. What makes you ask that question, if you don't mind me asking you? Why do you suspect or feel or want to know that?
Suspect or feel? Well, now I'm channeling because of the level that you create the music on. There has to be, even though those are emotions, there's often words connected to our emotions that come out. And now I'm talking stream of consciousness, right? So it's coming from the brain and then it goes on the paper. So I guess I'm asking you, do you use stream of consciousness? Do you write things down on paper? Because that's where spoken word comes from.
I do. That's very interesting. Actually, I live my life by list, but also creatively. I always have a book, a notepad by my bed, and I always, if I wake, I write things down in that way. But funnily enough, my first fiction thriller is just finished and is going out on submission. I'm hoping to get it published. So rather like you and your writing, I'm following suit there. Look, this whole thing of Avo and what I do, I've got things that I hopefully will entertain, but will also provoke more thought in people and have some relevance. And it's not just in the medium of the music.
Right. You have a lot of channels that you can put out there. That's great. As I like to say, it's all in front of you. Isn't that a wonderful place to be, right?
Oh, yes, hopefully.
Before I wrap it up, because I am technically broken, I don't know how to take the picture on the computer the way my co-host Tim does. So if you don't mind, may I take a picture like this?
Of course.
Okay, great. Say cheese.
Cheese.
I know it's really goofy. Tim has only showed me probably 10 times how to do that, and it still doesn't register. Not everybody can be great on the computer. What can I tell you?
Well, yeah, look, that's a small price, but who needs to be good on the computer anyway?
Who needs to be good on the computer? I coordinated my outfit and earrings, which are flamingos, with your piano today, and damn it, I deserve some credit for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you get it, Wendy.
Thank you, Avohee. Thank you, Avoher. Really amazing having you here today. Wishing you the best, but yeah, I'll be hearing all about you. I know, because I will continually be asking about you and what you're up to. Please, if you come to New York, definitely touch base with me. A lot of the people I have on the show from all over, they absolutely come in. When they come into New York, we see each other like in person, which is pretty wild because so many of you I only meet virtually. So, you know.
Yeah, no, I loved it. Thank you. Look, thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you a little and have this opportunity to chat with you. And so, yeah, I've loved it. Thank you. It's been great. It's been my pleasure.
I wish you the best, and thank you to everyone who tuned in today. Have a beautiful rest of day. Bye-bye.